Hello, BookTube. And Martine's finger. Hi, say hi.
Hey guys.
Martine is going to sit in off camera. It's been a while. Today is Friday. Happy Friday. Here in the hot and steamy jungles.
Northwest, but we're not.
We're not in the Great Northwest. We are on the high front plains range. Front range. Anyway.
The blistering.
Yes, and there's Boomer's head.
Hi, Boo. Stick your tongue out.
Whatever. You can't, you know it.
Buddy.
They can't see. Anyway, what is this video about? This is, whoa, I got so excited.
Messing with your mic.
I hit the mic. I have a massive amount of used books, history used gems that I found that I was looking for online to complete some collections that I have started. And each of them has a story about how I found them or why I was looking for them. And there's Daisy getting into her little fuzz pod bed. She loves it. Well, we're not going to talk about that.
We'll rate the video accordingly.
Yes.
B
No.
butthole.
Rated B for Daisy's butthole. Oh, you guys, it's been a while. Thanks for joining us, Martine.
Yeah, you kind of. I should just say, Peggy didn't know I was going to do this, so this is completely coerced.
Yeah,
Sorry.
she really felt the need to sit
my ass down and
to
interrupt everything.
yeah, she's going to interrupt every book. So if that bothers you, you might want to tune out.
Totally true.
But there's a lot of people that love Martine, and they just like to hear you making noises in the background and laughing and commenting, opinionating. All right, so these are books I picked up along the way over the last several weeks, and I've been saving them up to show you. A few of these I've gotten from Second and Charles. Some I've ordered third party online. Used. Again, I don't buy the books I buy are not all new. You know, I just so you guys don't think I'm not rolling in money, and we both can attest to that. But you know, I'm lucky in that I get a fair amount of review copies from publishers. But for things I want to have and keep and own, I generally will invest in either bargain shopping and or buying used. And occasionally, yes, I do plunk down the full price. So now Daisy's playing in with the ball. No one's paying attention anymore. They're just watching the dog action. And that's okay.
Yeah.
She has nothing to say to that.
Girl.
She is a good girl. All right, so let's start off with what I think is, I'm going to start off with like something I think is like the best of the best. I have downstairs in the parlor, which is another video I need to shoot. I need to also have that be a second location. I did a test recently on my phone, and the sound was great. So I think if I could just get a tripod for the iPhone, I can set it up on the shelf, or
You can use my mic stand or my camera stand.
use the camera stand, and then I can show you because it's a very beautiful room, and it's my white shelves that you remember from my early days of broadcasting, which was down in the living room, and I have the white IKEA bookshelves behind me.
They have not, contrary to popular belief, been kidnapped by Bill Rutenberg.
Hey, you know what?
Hello.
Hi, Bill. Yes. I think Bill's wife fell in love with our IKEA shelves, so
Has taste.
she's got taste, Anyway, so let's get into it. A great French historian. Let's see how many of you are familiar with Fernand Braudel. Fernand Braudel. I have several of his books. I have, you know what? I have to do. Luckily, I have the computer right here to look it up for you. It's downstairs. I was thinking of hauling them all up to show you, but I'm far too lazy for that, guys. So, I think what I have by him right now is there are 3 volumes in his Civilization and Capitalism 15th to 18th century series. There are 3 books, yes. So I have all of those downstairs. The first book is The Structures of Everyday Life. The second book in the series is The Wheels of Commerce. And the third is The Perspective of the World. But Fernand Braudel was a very prolific historian. Let me get back to where I can see. Okay. And So I was like, you know what? Let me just complete what I've got going on here. Plus another book I was reading for a review in the bibliography or the footnotes, I can't remember which, mentioned Broadel and this book, and then so it took me down a spiral where I just started. I'm like, let me get all of his stuff before it's completely out of print.
Is that your day-to-day rationale? I must get everything before it goes out of print.
Yes, because eventually these will go out of print.
How long are you planning on living, hon?
Listen,
I'm just waiting for the day where, like,
you're waiting for the day when I die and don't know what to do with my books.
No. Also, I totally know what I'm going to do. Bonfire. Just kidding. No, I would never.
No, she would never do that. You better not. Oh, okay. So yeah, this is what set me up. I wanted to get this 2-volume history by Fernand Braudel, or is it Braudel? The Identity of France. This was the book that was referenced in something I was reading for review. So I was able to find a very they're in fairly good shape. I might reinforce these or the jackets, which just put some tape over one of them's ripped. But this is volume 1 of Fernand Braudel's The Identity of France, volume 1, History and Environment, and is translated by Sean Reynolds. As you can see, this is it's ripped right here. But you know what? This is a very old book. Harper and Row.
That isn't nearly. That's too long. That should be a pop-up book. And when you open it, it just says one word. Ready?
Yeah.
Spiky.
What does that mean?
It's very French. They're just spiky about stuff.
Spiky.
Yeah.
Is spiky an adjective that is used a lot in Ireland?
In Britain.
In Britain. Now, what does spiky mean? Just contrary?
A little bit pissy and contrary.
It's pissy and contrary. Well,
A little bit.
any French people out there, let me know if we're right or wrong.
A little spiky.
They're a little spiky.
They like their protest.
They like their
And there's
protests.
nothing wrong with it.
There's, you know what? The French and Americans are very much alike in that sense. They like their protest. Anyway, it's a beautiful book. I was trying to find the publication date. Of course, for a French historian, he would start off with a quote by Sartre, Jean-Paul Sartre.
Yes.
History is made without knowing of its making. Okay, so this book was printed. I did find it. This is the first U.S. edition. This is from 1988. This book looks like a lot older than that, but you know what? I guess not. So I picked up this. I think I ordered these over Thrift Books or Amazon. I forget which. And then Volume 2 is massive. So The Identity of France, Volume 2, People in Production, also translated by Sean Reynolds. Bam! See how much bigger that one is. The cover is not ripped. You know, it's just a little dingy, a little old, but fairly good condition. There's not too much spotting on there. And I guess this was his last work that he lived to write, though not the last book he planned. And the second volume came out in, English translation came out in 1990. These are both first U.S. editions, so I am really tickled by that. Oh, I don't know if you guys want me to read this whole.
Can you do it in a French accent?
I can't. Oh no, I'm not
Do it for me. Paint me like one of your painters.
Martine wants me to read this description in a French accent.
Without offending anyone.
No, I could only do a line and then I'd stop. I can't do it. I can't even do a French accent. Well, okay. So it says here, Braudel's Identity of France has the pace, the unexpectedness, the marvelous eye, the appetite for enjoyment that have delighted his readers. Like the Mediterranean and civilization and capitalism, the line of approach is through the human situation, limited as always and everywhere by the possibilities of a given period and governed by habits of thought and action, by routine that stretches, often unquestioned, far back into the past and reaches sometimes right up to our own day. No historian has written with a more acute awareness that the past and the present are part of each other. None has emancipated himself more completely from the chronological dictatorship of the textbook. Let me just tell you what, whoever wrote the blurb for the dust jacket was an artist, because people don't write book descriptions anymore in this vein. It's philosophical. It's you're welcome. Having been now around just like publishing and how they market books, and seeing like jacket copy now and just pub sheets and things like that. It's like no one goes into this much depth. I mean, I could keep reading. This thing is just, it's like a short essay. But this was back in the 80s, and they put in a lot of work for the jacket copy and the flyleaf here. Okay, so I mean, boy, and it's just blurbed everywhere. And volume 2 has the blurbs from the first volume, right? And it says here in Braudel's last volume of The Identity of France, the last he lived to write, though not the last he had planned. So he might have wanted to write more about France, but he died. So, has all the freshness, the play of mind, and they had to throw in a French word. And it looks like gout, but I am sure it's not how it's pronounced. The gout du torer. Oh, God, I'm sorry.
What's it?
I just don't like the French language. I'm saying it. Most people, it's so beautiful. It's so...
Oh, man.
I can't do it. And I can't pronounce these words to save my life.
Right.
And that's me. That's my problem. Because France, spoken elegantly, it's a beautiful language. It's just, I sound like a complete moron trying to pronounce these words. And the gout du torer. Yeah, what is that? Goudoder?
Yes, Goudoder. It's a well-known French word.
She's showing me a spelling here. Goudotois. 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 Okay, goudotois, which means the unique flavor and aroma of a wine. Okay, but translated that to, literary stuff. Okay, the goudotois. Hey, I just learned a new French word.
Use that throughout the day, regardless of what's happening.
Yeah, so his work has all the freshness. The goudotois. Now I sound great.
Yeah.
That are the that are the special delights of his work. It says here that The Identity of France is the most personal of all his works. Not that it is in the least egotistical. This is a fabulous jacket copy. The personalities of many other historians lend color and controversy to the topics here considered: population, industry, commerce, and above all, the two characteristic types that fascinate the author, the peasant and the financier. In elucidating these matters, Braudel stops to argue in the friendliest manner with the scholars whose views he presents. A flash of recollection sharpens his point, and suddenly there is a vivid, sometimes elegiac sketch of French life or landscape in all its particularity drawn from his own direct experience. And it goes on and on like that. It's very beautiful. Goudotois, okay?
Yeah.
So I picked up, to add to my Civilization and Capitalism series that he produced, these 2 volumes. So that was a very successful used history book hunt right there. Continuing on with good old Fernand. Of course, I heard about this book called The Mediterranean, and I wanted to check that out. Now, I couldn't find both books in hardcover. I can only find the first volume, because it's 2 volumes. And I couldn't find both books in hardcover. So the first book, the volume 1, it has to be softcover, but that's okay. And this is Fernand Braudel's The Mediterranean and the Mediterranean World in the Age of Philip II. Volume 1, this is a very old book. Harper Colophon Books. It's just a very, again, third-party pickup. I think I got this on Thrift Books. The pages are yellowed for sure. But that's not a problem. We got Patricia's book. It is very yellowed along the edges. So this is, let's see when this was printed. This was printed on 100% recycled paper, and we are seeing that in the dark yellowing. Woo! This book is from 1972, y'all. Oh my God, it's 50 years old.
Birthday year.
It's my. Oh, they weren't supposed to know my age.
She's 21 again. We'll edit that too.
Hopefully you
We'll edit
can't
that
do
as well.
simple math, but this book and me were created the same
better.
year.
There's
I'm not
less
as
yellowing and
yellowing.
crinkling.
I've got crinkles. I don't know. I got the crow's feet. Well, anyway, so I got volume 1. Oh, you probably want to know a little bit
You're
about
less
this.
water-stained, honey.
I
You
am.
smell better.
Oh, this video is going to take forever to get through. No, just because I got a lot of books.
I'll
And
stop talking.
No, you keep talking. This is you're the only enjoyable part of this. Oh, she kicked me with her foot. All right, that's love. It says here,
My good as hair or
it's
whatever.
good à toi.
Good as
There we
far as
go.
my feet.
So, from its original French publication in 1949, The Mediterranean and the Mediterranean World in the Age of Philip II has been internationally recognized as a masterpiece of historical scholarship. In its pages, Professor Braudel brings to life in all their complexity the societies, economies, politics, and personalities of the Mediterranean world in the second half of the 16th century, at the very moment when the Mediterranean Sea, the western center of ancient and medieval civilization, began to lose its primacy. In this first volume, Professor Braudel describes the geography and environment of the Mediterranean, which shaped its subsequent history, and the general historical trends of the economic and social conditions. And then I'm going to show you in a second, the second volume, which it says here depicts the political and military confrontation of the empires of Spain and Turkey as they fought for the mastery of the Mediterranean. Fabulous. Okay, so I've got volume 1, right? And then I got this, I wanted volume 1 to look exactly like this, because this is cool. Now, this is very old. I will need to put some tape on these fraying edges right here. They have ripped a bit. Do you see this, hon?
Oh, yeah. Mhm.
So I need to get the packing tape and get, whatever, that clear tape.
Oh, yeah. Does
And
anybody
reinforce.
have any recommendations on what they'd use here? Because I know that
Yeah.
Steve has done some videos on.
Steve, and I think I've seen David Murphy do
Oh, yeah,
the
nice.
reinforcing of books
Nice.
with the tape. I just need to watch it again. I need to watch those videos again because I forget exactly. In this case, I don't need to reinforce the spine because it's a hardcover, but I just need to take off the tearing jacket. So yeah, if anyone has any suggestions, let us know. But so we've got volume 2 of The Mediterranean, my used book gem that I found here, volume 2, and this one's not yellowed, so this one is definitely not printed on 100% recycled paper. It's probably acid free. This is completely white. Don't say it's racist. She's funny. So, and this was published in 1973. So as you can see, I had one book here in 100% recycled paper, completely dark yellow. Then you get the hardcover. I'm going to still keep my eyes out and see if I might be able to find volume 1 in this style. It is perfect. But, yeah. So as I read in the other book at the end, so volume 2 focuses more on the military stuff and the wars. And so I'm so tickled, though, to have these.
That's very cool.
Yes.
They look nice.
Yeah,
They do.
didn't he? This guy really, when he went into history, he went all out. He wrote multi-volume stuff, and I love multi-volume works. I just do.
Be curious to see what he was going to write.
What do you mean for his last books?
Yeah, yeah. What his plan was.
Well, and you know what, too? I don't know if this is a mashup of these two books, but I think I bought. Here's another Fernand Braudel book that I picked up. It's a deckle-edged book. I think I got it off Thrift Books, and this one has actual inserts of color art and stuff and photos. So this one's called Memory and the Mediterranean. So yeah, Memories. It kind of goes well with these other two. But this is the cover for this one, Memory and the Mediterranean. Again, I don't know if like a condensation of the 2 volumes. I hope not. But either way, it was really cheap, so I thought I'd pick it up. Oh, okay. I probably forgot that I read this, and I was like, no, it is different. It's not the same. It says here that this is a previously unpublished work. So, Memory in the Mediterranean, a previously unpublished work by one of the greatest historians of the 20th century. The story of the Mediterranean in ancient times, from its geological beginnings to the great civilizations that flourished along its shores. Written in the late 1960s, the decade during which Fernand Braudel was also at work on his monumental Civilization and Capitalism, which is the one I have downstairs, the manuscript was set aside on the death of the author's longtime friend and editor, Albert Schiera. Oh. The magnificent text begins with the history of the Mediterranean seabed itself, the layers of clay, sand, and limestone, from which the Egyptians carved their ancient tombs and with which the megalithic temples in Malta were built. What follows is the epic story of how the Phoenicians, the Etruscans, the Greeks and Romans, and the great river civilizations of Mesopotamia and Egypt struggled and thrived in this demanding but gloriously beautiful world bordered and shaped by the Mediterranean. I'm guessing, though, since this was written in the late 60s, and it looks like the Mediterranean books here came out in the 40s, right? It came out in France in 1949. So I guess even after writing 2 massive books on the Mediterranean, there was something about it he still wanted to come back to, like 10, 15 years later.
I think that's cool.
It is cool.
It's probably stuff was on his mind, and he was like, you know what?
Yeah, things that maybe didn't make it into the
Tired
first 2 volumes.
Of boring my wife, waking her up at 2 in the morning, going, God, I should have talked about this.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. Yep. He said, you know what? I've got to put pen to paper and get the Mediterranean out of my system.
Just eat a lot of bran.
Yeah. Well, you're right.
Yeah.
And a little bit of what we didn't know about Fernand when he was born and when he died, which I didn't know. He was born in 1902 and he died in 1985. And this introduction claims that he is the greatest historian of the 20th century, bar none. And who is the introduction writer here? Oswin Murray. I don't know who Oswin Murray is, but I will look into it. Yeah. Oh, wait. Another book I have downstairs by Braudel is called, it's a slim volume, softcover paperback. I think it's called On History, or History of Civilization. That's what I have. Okay, so he went back and he did another book on the Mediterranean, so I thought I would keep this one, Memory in the Mediterranean, alongside these other 2 volumes on the Mediterranean.
Nice.
Isn't it great? Okay, so I think that covers Fernand. Now,
This is cool.
Yes?
You know what? You might want to make this just one video. But here's Oswin. Did you say Murray?
Yeah.
Yeah, read this.
So Oswin Murray, who introduced that book.
Read the anecdote.
The anecdote about Boris Johnson?
Yeah.
So Murray is still alive and is a joint editor of the Oxford History of the Classical World. Boris Johnson, the previous or outgoing Prime Minister of Britain, was one of his students when he was reading classics at Balliol. How do you pronounce that? Do you know it's at Balliol College? So Murray describes Johnson as... This is from Wikipedia, though. We don't know if it...
Wikipedia.
Okay, he describes Johnson as a, quote, a buffoon and an idler, end quote.
And he revoked their friendship. I love that.
Oh, and in 2018, when Johnson became prime minister, Murray sent his former student in the ancient tradition a runtatio amicitiae, a public revocation of their friendship.
I love that.
That's fantastic. Thanks, hon. She's my gal Friday over here, offering interesting little things. Again, you're like my Ed McMahon. The older generation will get that.
I don't get it.
Johnny Carson show, Ed McMahon, the
Ed
sidekick.
McMahon. Oh, yeah, with the laugh and everything.
With the,
Goldie, you're so funny.
yes. All right. Moving on to the other used books that I have discovered.
Or if you want to stop it there, make your life simpler.
Why? Why would I want to make my life simpler? I want to get through all these books.
That's a great question.
Why would I want to make my life
You
simpler?
already said you're at 25 minutes.
It doesn't matter. I'm going to keep going.
Oh my God.
I'm going to keep
so
going.
Sorry, guys.
All right. So, I get a lot of good recommendations and ideas about books I've never heard of from other booktubers, right? And as a lot of you do. And I hope that a lot of you have found books that you've never heard of through my channel. That's what I'm hoping to do here.
Well, they do, but then they curse you for it.
They curse me for it because they have spent too much money
Yeah.
trying to get these books, and I apologize for that. But I don't apologize for all the knowledge that you will accrue from watching the History Shelf. That's all I'm going to say. So, I'm always trying to find new or channels I haven't discovered yet of people who talk about history or nonfiction primarily. And you know how hard it is. For those of you who are here primarily because you are hungry for history, booktubers, hungry for nonfiction kind of stuff. And yes, we do other stuff here. We do fiction. We do mystery thrillers too. But you know how hard it is. And I am constantly on the lookout. And so I found this one channel, very strange name until I realized what it meant, but it's called whatifalthist. So it's short for What If Alternate History. So the channel name is, and I'll link it below if you want to check it out. It's pretty intriguing. What If Alt Hist?
It sounds like a Usenet group from back in the day.
Sounds like a Usenet group, yeah. Well, he had this interesting video, and maybe I'll just link that particular video so you don't have to hunt for it, about some of the best history books that you can find about, like, I don't know, world history or whatever. And this guy was cracking my stuff up, if you know what I'm saying. I almost said another word. But he said he was mentioning a few things, like it's like a top 10 or 15, and he mentioned one of them that had multiple volumes, and he said that this was fantastic. So I went and hunted down a used copy of William H. McNeill's The Rise of the West, A History of the Human Community with a retrospective essay. So William H. McNeill, I had never heard of him before. Okay, in like all my books on civilization and prominent historians, never heard of William H. McNeill. I don't know how many of you have read this or have heard about William H. McNeill or might have read him in college. I don't know.
People who are currently throwing things at their computer monitor.
Yes, people who are throwing things at the screen with horrific memories of reading. No, I don't know.
No. Just like, how can you not know?
They're mad at me. Like, how do you not know William H. McNeill? Well, now I know. Because this guy cracked me up on his channel. And this is richly illustrated. It looks like a textbook, but looks like a fun kind of textbook. I mean, kind of cool stuff here. So The Rise of the West, right? And apparently he wrote 3 books in this series. And the other 2 I am trying to procure at a reasonable rate and in a reasonable condition. Like, I found this and I was like, okay, let's start off with the first volume. The second one, I believe, is called Plagues and People. No, it's called Power and...
Making stuff up, everybody.
I'm not making stuff up. I just need to look real quick because it's in my cart. I've always got a plan. I'm always on the lookout. So the second book in this series is called The Pursuit of Power, Technology, Armed Force, and Society since AD 1000. And that has a very different type of cover. There's a newer... Okay, no, I can't look at this. And then the final one is Plagues and People. So thanks to What If Alt Hist, the Usenet group, just kidding.
Like you said,
What If Alt Hist.
Alt Pissed is what it's
I didn't say pissed. I said
That'd be a great group, though. I'm so mad about Shakespeare.
I'm so... Yeah, What If Alt
Marlowe
Pit.
was robbed.
Mm-hmm. So I got the first volume, right? And I mean, do I need to say any much more about it? Well, this book won the National Book Award for History in 1964. So obviously, it's an older work, and the guy in the BookTube channel does indicate like these are older works. Okay, so you have to take some of the stuff knowing that some things have obviously changed, views have changed. There's new evidence to support this or that. So, but he says it's great work of historiography and history and historiography and how he portrays the world's past and apparently this retrospective essay talks about how it should be revised to reflect changes. But anyway, William H. McNeill. He's well, this is a dated book. This was from the University of Chicago Press, so I'm sure this man is now not with us. This came out in 1963, I believe. Actually, this copy might be from 1991. This is 1991. Okay. So as I'm watching that channel, right, so I'm like, now there's 2 more volumes I want to get for William H. McNeill. But as I was watching this guy's channel, then he mentions this other book that looked really good, and it's by the author historian, who I'm kind of collecting now and reading, especially his latest book, African Founders, David Hackett Fisher, which I have 2 books to show you by David Hackett Fisher, which came from my used book haul searching and wandering. This, I want to shout out to Bill Rutenberg again, because when I saw this book on his channel and he had found this book at a thrift store, not sure where he found it, but he said he got it for like $1, or maybe it was even like 50 cents. And I was like, you've got to be kidding me. This is a big, illustrious book by David Hackett Fisher, Liberty and Freedom, A Visual History of America's Founding Ideas. And it's heavy. It's like in the heavy paper, right? Well, I went looking for it used, and I have to say, I think I got it for a pretty decent price. Wow, it's beautiful. This is a coffee table book. It's got colored photos and artwork, heavy stock paper. Oh, Martine would like to see as well. Kind of like heavy paper, coffee table size, So I was really thrilled that I was able to locate this big book by David Hackett Fisher. Wow. Takes it up to modern day, kind of, sort of. This book came out in... When did this book come out? It says 2005. All right. So, pick this up. I'm guessing maybe less than $10, I know for sure. And it's in perfect condition. Didn't get it as cheap as Bill did, but still a very good deal. But let me get back to that booktuber. So his that video I was telling you about, he named this book by David Hackett Fisher as he's like, at first, you don't know how to handle this book, and then it only hit in then halfway through you realize you're shook.
Wow.
I was like, what historian talks about history just, has the effect of, shaking you, shooking.
On the back of their book,
I know. Well, let me tell you, I got this. I had just watched that video maybe 2 days before. Went to Second and Charles to turn in more books and get credit. I was upstairs looking on the clearance shelves. Like, that's where everything is dirt cheap. It's this book right here, The Great Wave. Price Revolutions and the Rhythm of History by David Hackett Fisher. This is the book that guy was like, at first you're just thinking you're reading about like economic, cycle turns, and then you're just shook halfway through. Like, this man, and he just goes off on how awesome it is, like, and I couldn't believe it. And not only was it a used book, but this thing was marked down from $8, and it was on the clearance rack for $4 in perfect condition. And I'm like, this was meant to happen. I was meant to watch that video and then come in today, and I just scored the Great Wave by David Hackett Fisher
Nice.
for $4. That was really
Karma.
it's karma.
Kismet.
Kismet. So I don't have this thing is just blurbed. I don't have anything I can actually read to you, but I would highly recommend you click on that link below and watch that the gentleman's video. He's very, very entertaining, and he turned me on to a bunch of books I'd never heard of before. I mean, I've heard of David Hackett Fisher. I did not know he wrote a book about price revolutions and the rhythm of history. So I'm intrigued. So for $4. Oh, and no, it wasn't even $4, guys. Why? Because I have like $180 in credit. That's Second and Charles. So I got this for free. And then I also got this other book for free. This was also a trip to Second and Charles. So I came away with The Great Wave. And then I just stumbled across this Oxford University Press book, which I had seen before, and I never pulled the trigger on and buying it. But this is a big chunkster. This is Strategy, a History by Lawrence Freedman. And look at that Trojan horse on the cover. I mean, that's just fantastic. Cool. Chunkster. Beautiful condition. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's virtually new. And it was listed for $8.75. And I'm like, free, because I've got credit. A lot of credit. So I'm picking up this Oxford University Press book. I'll give you a quick goût de toi. I'll give you a quick and goût de toi. Sorry. I'll give you a quick and easy synopsis. Okay. So in Strategy, a History, Lawrence Freedman captures the vast history of strategic thinking in this consistently engaging and insightful account of how strategy came to pervade every aspect of our lives. So Freedman begins with the origins of strategy, mining insights from the Bible, ancient Greek myth, Sun Tzu, and Machiavelli. A magisterial account of military strategy follows, taking readers from the writings of Karl von Clausewitz to the nuclear strategists of the 1950s, and finally to counterinsurgency in the revolution and military affairs. His analysis of political strategy begins with Marx's revolutionary analysis of politics and ends with Obama's presidential campaigns. Friedman follows this with a comprehensive historical account of business strategy, covering all of the major innovators from Frederick Winslow Taylor to Alfred Sloan and Peter Drucker. He closes with a section on how the contemporary social sciences are reshaping our understanding of the concept. This is interesting. At the heart of strategy is the question of whether it is possible to manipulate and shape our environment rather than simply becoming the victim of forces beyond our control. Time and again, Friedman demonstrates that the inherent unpredictability of this environment, subject to chance events, the efforts of opponents, and the missteps of friends, provides strategy with its challenge and its drama. Armies, corporations, and nations rarely move from one predictable state of affairs to another, but instead feel their way through a series of states, each one not quite what was anticipated. The process always requires a reappraisal of the original strategy, including its ultimate objective. So it's basically a brilliant overview, and a very sweeping overview. I mean, this thing it's big. That's what she said.
You said that.
I did say it. She did not say that. It was me.
Over here. I'm working.
She's working. So it's a brilliant overview of the most prominent strategic theories and histories, from David's use of deception against Goliath to the modern use of game theory in economics. So, fabulous. I've never read this Lawrence Freedman before, or just any Lawrence Freedman, I guess. There's only one Lawrence Freedman. I don't think there is. It sounds like a familiar name to me. So, basically a free used history tome that I found because of my credit. Yay! So I got a book on strategy. Now I'm not sure how you're going to react to this.
Me?
Yeah, Martine.
Is it Maggie Thatcher?
It's not Maggie Thatcher.
I kind of know what I was going to.
But I know how you feel about this particular.
Oh my God.
I know. I love
Is it,
keeping her in suspense.
Who Who else? Was
All right, well, here it goes. It's a 2-volume biography.
Keira Knightley?
Nope. I bought the first volume a while ago. I still need to read it. Second volume just came out. I've been trying to find it. I basically can only, the cheapest I can find for like a used, like new copy is like $14.
Is it burlesque? Because I don't want to.
No, it's this guy.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Ah, see?
Nazi Pope. Nazi
He's not a Nazi pope.
Yeah, well,
I think
you
this
look
will
at
show
some-
I'm talking about Pope Benedict XVI. This is this.
Rat-faced.
No,
Yes.
he was your pope, honey.
No, he was never my pope, baby.
I
like Pope
apologize.
Just because I think popes should have names.
Pope Innocent.
Like, totally didn't do it. Pope Innocent.
Pope Innocent.
Biggest bastard on the scene. Pope Innocent.
Pope Innocent.
Pope Judgy would be another good one.
Pope Judgy.
Pope Judgy the Third.
All right. Well, we've got Benedict XVI. This is. Oh, honey,
Oh yeah.
stop. I had the first volume. Now this is the second and last volume. Takes you up to the present. So this is a life professor and prefect to Pope and Pope Emeritus, 1966 to the present, by Peter Seawald. It's put up by Bloomsbury Books. I was able to find. It's still like around $30 new. I was able to find a really good copy for about, like I said, about $14. So, I have the first. Like I said, I need to read it. And not around Martine, apparently. So the second volume runs from the Second Vatican Council of 1965 to 68, right up to the present day. I could read a description, but I think we'll get a lot of commentaries. So I think we'll just move on.
No, go for it. I'm sorry. You know how I feel. I've already said it.
I know how you feel. Okay, well, I'm just reading from the copy. So we see how Benedict was influenced by the council and the ensuing political unrest all over Europe to move from a liberal perspective on the church and the modern world to one that was profoundly conservative. Appointed in 1981 as prefect of the Congregation for the Doctrine of the Faith and quickly nicknamed God's Rottweiler, wow, he proved to be intransigent on the controversial issues of abortion, contraception, gay rights, and gay marriage. But elected Pope in 2005, his tenure of office was so riven with shocking revelations of controversy and scandal that it seemed that by the time of his resignation in 2013, he was incapable of handling the complexities of the church in the modern world. The ensuing scandals of WatiLeaks, sexual abuse by priests, and the Regensburg speech, which became the fuse to an eruption of anger and rage in the Muslim world, all made international headlines. Well, it says here Peter Seawald is the only person who is close enough to Benedict to assess the man himself and to uncover the truth about so many of the controversial issues surrounding this most controversial papacy. His magisterial biography of Benedict XVI is based not just on meticulous research, but on many hours of recorded interviews with the Pope Emeritus himself. So that's another project for this year that I want to do is I want to get through these 2 volumes because I've got. Can I just finish real quick before, and I'll have to move the microphone closer to you for this. So I do want to read this 2-volume biography of him. I am not a Catholic, however, I do.
Live with one?
I have to live with one. No, I wouldn't even call you Catholic.
Oh, I'm definitely Catholic.
Well, she's Catholic, but she's not like going to mass or anything like that.
No.
But it's deep in her bones. I was just going to say, it's my project, so I'm going to read that because I've got a lot of Catholic scholarship I'm tackling in my new project of theology readings and my studies. And I think some of the Catholic thinkers were brilliant. I really want to get into Thomas Aquinas. And I know people have things to say about Benedict, but one thing that can be said was the man is a scholar because of the few things I have read out of most of these previous popes. He's a writer. He would rather be writing history and theology books, and I think that's where he shines. So, and I'm going to toss it over to Martine at the 44-minute mark. Hang on.
Well, I was just going to say my dad picked Thomas as his middle name, as his confirmation name, because he loved Thomas Aquinas.
Oh, okay.
But just to your last point, I mean, I think the fact that the guy is a scholar almost makes his errors in judgment all the more egregious. You know, I saw Pope John Paul II when he visited Ireland in '79, and as I got old, even as a child, I was like, why are you not mentioning women in the church? Why is this an issue? Why? And that was even before I knew I was gay. So I think, but what I did love, and I think it's safe to say that what people did appreciate about John Paul II was the fact that he was Polish and he so supported Lech Wałęsa and the Solidarity movement. Ratzinger was a massive step back, and that's why I had hope when Francis was elected, and now he's stepped back too. And so it's just like, and you wonder why the church is dying. You don't, if all you're doing is sitting on a gold throne passing out judgments about people, go to hell. And that's somebody who has faith but does not have faith in the Catholic Church. And that isn't even talking about how they dealt with all of the abuse scandals, and that goes back way back.
I agree.
And recommendation on a documentary, I think it's called Mea Culpa, and I think it's on HBO, and it is so powerful. But anyway, or the Magdalene Diaries too.
Yes. Well, let me just thank Martine for sharing. That was you kind of opened up there and shared a little bit. I liked what you said about this is coming from a person who has faith but doesn't believe in the.
I don't believe in what man has done to the church.
And she doesn't believe what man has done to the church, and I think we're in agreement on that. You know, I come from a Protestant background. Hey. Let me tell you, I grew up, and I don't think you know this, but I grew up just hearing that, the Catholic Church was the Antichrist. I bet you didn't know that.
It doesn't surprise me.
It doesn't surprise you, because you came from Ireland, where basically Protestants and Catholics thought each other that each other were the devil.
It's very underreported how well they got along in the North.
It's just the people in power, then, right?
No, seriously.
Are you being sarcastic?
I am.
Oh, damn it! Sometimes I can't tell because she just has a straight ass face, and I'm just like. Anyway, my thing is, and I'm not trying to, and I will have to start another video to do the rest of these books. I'm sorry, everybody, but I might save them for next time then.
No, do it. We're on a roll. Just hit stop.
Anyway, guys, I didn't mean to go off on the religious angle there, but you get Martine and I in a room, and we'll have great discussions. Anyway, I'm going to wrap up with these 4 books. Are you going to hang out? Okay. Can I?
I just need a new drink.
Okay. Continuing on with another, and I had this for a little while. I was thinking about saving to show you this when I have. There's 2 other books I want to show you that kind of complete this series, but I did buy this used, and the other 2 I bought brand new from ChristianBook.com. But this is also another Catholic, theologian, priest. And I'm reading, I'm almost finished with reading his commentary on the book of Hebrews right now. And this is the great Catholic thinker, Raymond Brown. And I picked up The Birth of the Messiah, which I've seen many times across BookTube over the years, and I keep meaning to get it. So I have the commentary on the infancy narratives in the Gospels of Matthew and Luke, right? So this is the updated edition. I was able to find a used copy. Not too bad. Not too bad condition. A little bit yellowing, but no, it kind of lays very nicely on the table, so while I'm studying, I don't need to hold it. Nice room for annotating in the sides. So when I do my Christian book haul video, you're going to see the other 2 volumes that kind of accompany this, which is on the death of the Messiah, which is 2 volumes. So, but for right now, I do have The Birth of the Messiah. And again, I don't need to read you a description. It's just a commentary. But I really enjoy Raymond Brown's his style, his writing style, and how he breaks down. As I'm reading this commentary on Hebrews, I've got so many things underlined. It's great. Really enjoying Raymond Brown's take. And, Protestants, Catholics, doesn't matter. You can both read his work. It's... Again, I don't mind reading from Catholic thinkers, even if they're outright claiming Catholicism is the only way. I just, let that go in and out. But, so, that's it for the Catholic stuff. I did pick up this book, just because it looked interesting. I can't remember how I found it. It was, listed as in perfect new condition, and I think I bought it from Midtown Scholar bookstore used. They have such great service, and their books are always as described. I love them. So back to history, and we've got the First Crusade, the Chronicle of Fulcher of Chartres. Sorry, that made me burp. The Fulcher of Chartres, or Chartres, and other source materials, second edition, edited by Edward Peters. This was put out by Penn State University Press. So the First Crusade received its name and shape late. To its contemporaries, the event was a journey, and the men who took part in it, pilgrims. Only later were those participants dubbed crusaders, those signed with the cross. In fact, many developments with regard to the First Crusade, like the bestowing of the cross and the elaboration of crusaders' privileges, did not occur until the late 12th century, almost 100 years after the event itself. Now, in a greatly expanded second edition, Edward Peters brings together the primary texts that document 11th century reform ecclesiology, the appearance of new social groups and their attitudes, the institutional and literary evidence dealing with holy war and pilgrimage, and, most important, the first-hand experiences of men who participated in the events of 1095 to 1099. Readers who found Peter's original The First Crusade valuable will find in the second edition an even more comprehensive treatment of the subject. Peters supplements his previous work by including a considerable number of texts not available at the time of the original publication. The new material, which constitutes nearly one-third of the book, consists chiefly of materials from non-Christian sources, especially translations of documents written in Hebrew and Arabic. Peters has extensively revised and expanded the introduction, okay, and then, so it's nice, updated and revised second edition. It's got all the primary text along with his own notes on the topics. So, I have an extensive Crusade history collection. I've got a few on the shelf behind me.
Who was your favorite
right there?
Crusader?
Who was my favorite Crusader?
Yeah.
Well, I have to say Richard Lionheart.
Me too.
Richard Lionheart was badass. I think it was at Acre. He came off that ship. It was basically like jumping off the ship like Achilles running up the beach at Troy and then Normandy as well. And he just basically jumped out ahead of his men. They just stormed that. Oh, he was
3 inches
badass.
later. Yeah.
I think that's where he got his name. Was Lionheart. I do like Richard Lionheart. Who's your favorite Crusader? Sorry. All right. So I picked that up. I think I got that off of Amazon for a song. I'll save I bought one big massive work of historical fiction for last. I'll save that for last. This book, what made me want to buy this? I was watching a documentary, I think. Also, I'm very happy about my haircut. Oh. And I kept meaning to get this book, and I just noticed this thing was marked down to like $5, brand new or something. And I'm like, sometimes on Amazon that just happens. You're looking up something, and it's like, I'm like, is this a joke? Is this a third party? Why is this big ass hardcover book $5, brand new?
Anymore, huh?
Well, look what I scored. The Kennen Diaries by George F. Kennon, edited by Frank Castigliola. So he's the Cold War guy who just wrote the long memo. That's what it was. I was reviewing a book, and they were talking about the long memo. I've been reading a lot about Russia lately for book reviews, and they mentioned Kennon. So I wanted to mine some of his diaries. Look at it, beautiful. Take off the jacket, and it's like you got his name embossed here. I got this for it's brand new for $5. You guys don't even know what the hell. And no remainder mark. How did that happen? It's when the publishers overstock and they take a black marker and they'll either dot it or they'll ruin it by putting a mark on it.
Bastard.
Publishers overstock is what. Yes, remainders and stuff. The only thing I have on the back is a sticker, which I will attempt to take off without any damage. So, okay, 54 minutes. I promise I'm going to try to finish this in an hour. Okay, so, Kennon was Sorry, not the long memo. It was the long telegram. He's known for that because in 1940, his career had been tumultuous. Early postings in Eastern Europe, followed by Berlin in 1940 to 41, and Moscow in the last year of World War II. In 1946, the 42-year-old Kennon authored the Long Telegram, a 5,500-word indictment of the Kremlin that became mandatory reading in Washington. A year later, in an article in Foreign Affairs, he outlined Containment, America's guiding strategy in the Cold War. Yet what should have been the pinnacle of his career, an ambassadorship in Moscow in 1952, was sabotaged by Kennon himself, deeply frustrated at his failure to ease the Cold War that he had helped launch. Yet, if it wasn't the pinnacle, neither was it the capstone. Over the next 50 years, Kennon would become the most respected foreign policy thinker of the 20th century, giving influential lectures, advising presidents, and authoring 20 books, winning 2 Pulitzer Prizes and 2 National Book Awards in the process. Through it all, Kennon kept a diary. Spanning a staggering 88 years and totaling over 8,000 pages, his journals brim with keen political and moral insights, philosophical ruminations, poetry, and vivid descriptions. In these pages, we see Kennon rambling through 1920s Europe as a college student, despairing for capitalism in the midst of the Depression, agonizing over the dilemmas of sex and marriage, becoming enchanted and then horrified by Soviet Russia, and developing into America's foremost Soviet analyst. But it is the second half of this near century-long record, the blossoming of Kennon, the gifted author, wise counselor, and biting critic of the Vietnam and Iraq wars, that showcases this remarkable man at the height of his singular analytic and expressive powers, before giving way heartbreakingly to some of his most human moments as his energy, memory, and finally his ability to write fade away. Who is growling?
She doesn't like Kennon.
You don't like Kennon, Daisy? Why is she growling at herself?
So angry at him.
Daisy's chewing on a treat and growling at the same time. You dog analysts out there, please tell me what this means.
She doesn't like it. She disagrees with his ideology.
She better not be a commie, because she's out of this house.
She knows he's a cat person.
No, we are strongly anti-communist in this household. Daisy May, Boots, McGee,
Booger T.
Montoya, Daisy Montoya. I'm really happy to have this book, you guys. So, just discovered it online for cheap. So, but you know what? Why is it in the stack then, right? Because it's not used. It was new. Oh, well, I just gave you a freebie. Just something I went shopping for and bought. Anyway, so this book is used. I've heard people talk about it. Either it's either really good or her writing is really bad, but she knows all about ancient Rome. And I just thought, you know what? I'm just going to give it a try. This woman has written so many books over the years, and I've never read her stuff. I believe she wrote The Thornbirds.
Yes, she did.
Okay, so you know who I'm talking about.
My mom read Thornbirds and then would hide the paperback from me, so I could.
Did you hear that?
Scenes.
Her mom read The Thornbirds, and okay, hang on. She's going to 58 minutes. Let's go.
Oh, yeah. So I think this was the same in Britain. But when the Thornbirds, oh God, babe, you gotta get closer. When Jason will know this. When the Thornbirds aired on RTE, the joke was, now maybe this was based in reality, I don't know, that when the episode ended, the sewer system in Ireland, the septic system, whatever, clogged because everybody was hitting the bathroom at the same time. Everybody was going to the toilet at the same time after each episode. Oh, the scandal. That and Monsignor with Christopher Reeve.
Wow.
Yeah.
So basically, people were holding their potty.
I'm sure it was the same with 50 Shades of Grey. But
50 Shades of Grey,
everybody
my
was
butt.
like, oh, I gotta watch this.
I've
thing."
never read The Thornbirds, so maybe I should. But
Like I said, I've read pieces.
in the meantime, you know I love my ancient history. You know I love ancient Greece and ancient Rome. So I wanted to finally read Colleen McCullough's The First Man in Rome, a novel. And this is the one that set her off on the series, her ancient Rome series. For some reason, it's out in paperback, but I wanted this original hardcover. And there she is in earlier days. Look at that. Okay. Mm-hmm. She's like, you know what she's thinking of? She's like,
dirty sex with priests. That's what she's thinking about. That little hussy.
she's thinking about dirty lady. She's also thinking, how can I make people get a bladder infection by not going to the bathroom because they want to watch my sex scene in Thornbirds?
If Rachel Ward Ward does it with Richard Chamberlain.
Rachel Ward and Richard Chamberlain. Okay.
Dr. Kildare.
Taking it back. So this is the first novel. And, I think I got it off Thrift Books. Not bad. And it doesn't smell bad. Sometimes I bought some used books recently, and they just smell, not these ones, thank goodness, but some ones I haven't shown you yet. It smells like someone had, like, rubbed Vicks Vapo Rub on their chest and then took the book and was just like,
Fell asleep reading it.
Oh, maybe that's what happened.
Yeah.
So it was like some 80-year-old dude reading a book with the Vapo Rub on, and the book just, like, falls asleep on his chest. And then I open it up 30 years later, and I'm like, whoa. That's,
Well, they could have
book problems.
grasping like a felt-tip marker, in which case that would really smell. So.
It would. So this says here, and we've already hit the hour mark. Whatever, I don't care. I'm sorry, you guys. You got a long video because we had a special guest today, and I just love it. I'll try to give you another video this weekend. It's going to be a scorcher this weekend, is it not, my love? It's going to be 100 degrees both days. I have a lot of writing to do. I have a review that I am working on currently that I need to finish tomorrow. So I thought, I'm not going to be doing a video tomorrow. Let's get one done tonight so that you guys have something to peruse and fast forward through. Okay, I'm just kidding. The publication 13 years ago of Colleen McCullough's The Thornbirds was a landmark event, a remarkable achievement now surpassed by a novel in which storytelling and scholarship combine to bring to life one of history's most important epochs. The First Man in Rome sweeps the reader into an irresistibly vivid world of political intrigue, danger, wars, assassinations, devastating upheaval, intricately passionate family alliances and rivalries, and undeniable reality. It is New Year's Day of 110 BC, and two of the latest in a long line of noble Roman mediocrities are assuming the coveted mantle of consul. But among those watching are two very different men whose vision, ruthlessness, and courage will foreshadowing change upon the Roman Republic, struggling to cope with mushrooming territorial possessions and the growing resentment of the Italians it treats as third-class citizens. One of these two men is Marius, a wealthy rustic barred by his low birth from grasping his prophesied destiny to become the first man in Rome, he who stands above all his peers through sheer excellence. The second is Sulla. Ooh, yes, Sulla. Handsome and debauched scion of an impeccably aristocratic house, prevented by penury from claiming his birthright. Yet both men have a mighty presence for ally. What? Yet both men have a mighty presence for ally, fickle, capricious, elusive. Oh, the goddess Fortune, who loves and favors them above all others. Brought together by war in dark and distant lands, they battle the enemies of Rome and their enemies within Rome, for the quest to become the first man in Rome is as political as it is military, and the first man in Rome must be master of both arenas. Okay, so, and then this version has, and I like I like having the big oversized hardcover because of the fact of just this inset. Look at this highly detailed layout of ancient Rome, and the key, and the legend over here, right? Just showing you where everything was. I mean, that is, the paperback would have it, but it'd be more shrunken, and you'd really be trying to squint to see. This is great. This is going to help me visualize where the characters are, where they live, where they're walking. I need that visual help sometimes, Sometimes reading these historical fiction books, you're like, I don't understand what that would have looked like. So I don't know. I can only envision them walking down the street to the 7-Eleven because that's all I know, right? Do you know what I'm saying? It's like I need these old maps and stuff to help me think of, layouts that are different, landscapes that are different. So I'm intrigued. I'm excited to start reading this because she wrote several in this. Many. There's a book on Antony and Cleopatra I'd like to read, but I know it came later on, and so I just want to start from the beginning. I'm a completionist, honey, but there's also a sense of I have to start from the beginning.
Yeah.
And continue on. I'm going to say the words that you hate.
You're painting me in a really bad light here.
Brad Thor.
Why do you do this to me?
I'm gonna give him a go again.
No.
I bought 6 books that were they're the perfect size. I don't like mass market paperbacks. They're beautiful. They were only $6 each. and I'll be reading book 6 in the series. Because why? Because Brad Thor has a new book coming out, or it just came out, called Rising Tiger, and I have to support my hunky bow hunk of Thriller.
God! The wedding's off, guys. That's it. The wedding is off. You heard it here first. You are dead to me.
No! I'm doing this to get a rise out of you. And it worked.
Accomplished. I'm gonna cancel that order. Oh my.
She's going to cancel my order. I'm turning red. She's making me blush.
Dude.
Honey, I'm just kidding.
Baby.
People love it. People love this. This is what it is. I'm just warning you, because when the shipment arrives and you see, listen, it's going to arrive all right.
Oh my God. I'm gonna get you an autographed.
Give me an autograph. It'd be cool.
And you have to put it up in your office.
If Brad Thor autographed a book, I would have it up. Contact his publicist.
I will.
Brad Thor, Atria, Emily Bessler, publisher. I even know the name of his publisher. You want? Hey, I would even interview the man.
I dare you to tag this video.
We'll see.
She loves it.
I'm small. You know what? I'm small fry out here. I have 2,000 subscribers, some odd numbers. And Brad Thor,
Yeah, but you know
he's
what? You
busy.
wouldn't even, I tell you what, an interview with, it would be like Saturday Night Live when Chris Farley would interview famous people, and he'd be like I think he interviewed Scorsese and De Niro. And he was
I
like,
forgot 2 more.
You know when he did that movie? That was awesome. That would be you.
You know when you wrote that book about like the
Guy.
jihadi and the Russian?
That was awesome.
That was awesome.
You know when you did that movie?
You know when you did
The
that
Mob?
that book
That's so great. That would be you interviewing Brad
about the
Thor.
hostages and they got
What
rescued?
did you think about it?
That was awesome.
That was great. You're so
I hope you
bad.
enjoy.
What hair products do you use? You're not using a filter on that camera, right? Oh my God, you're so dreamy.
Wow, this was an indulgent hour-long video. I hope you guys don't mind. This is consider it like a live stream, except you weren't able to live chat us. Maybe someday we'll do a live stream. What do you think?
Well, it'll be a lot of this.
It will be a lot of this, but I would be reading people's comments to you and then basically saying, what would you like me to say back? Because everyone would be talking to Martine. Tell us the story, Martine. Tell us the story.
Can I swear or not?
They'll want you to swear, but, I'll... Anyway. Thanks for joining me, my other half, my better half,
No, you're my better half.
She says I'm her better half.
You're the nice one.
Isn't she sweet?
It's true.
And you know what? Despite all that, there were still 2 more books that I didn't show you. And these are fiction. I'm going to save another used book haul video because I think I have a few more. Actually, I do downstairs. So you know what? It's good. Consider this one just its own complete history book haul, secondhand gems, and we'll do this again soon, and maybe Martine will join us.
I shall.
Give her your love below in the comments. Yeah, if someone says she's and if you feel like she's alienating, then don't say anything.
It's like not or tap twice on Ghost Hunters.
Yeah, tap
Or,
twice.
yeah, if you want to leave the room, I will.
Yeah, no. I like when you join in.
Yeah, but
So I hope you've enjoyed this and had some fun and have some laughs. You can see how she makes me loosen up even a bit more, and I have fun.
well, your outrage kind of does, and indignation kind of does that.
My outrage and indignation. At what? I don't. What was I?
Me in general.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Just stop calling people a D word and like. Oh God.
Douche.
She did it again. All right, guys. An hour and 8, and we're out of here. So say goodbye,
Bye.
and we will see you soon, BookTube.
Bye.